Jack Power. I was in the Army. I was drafted after I came out of college, and that's when the draft basically you had no choice. Your choice was to either go into the service or to go to Canada. Basic training, Fort Dix, New Jersey. Then you went to Fort Polk in Louisiana for jungle training. The training that the Army gave was excellent. The physical conditioning was something you never really expect, but you're young. I was 22 years old. I was old for our group. The majority of people were 18 and 19 years old. Fort Polk gave you the first idea of what jungle was going to be like, and just being in the mud and being in the rain and climbing around and being out. Many a person had never been in the woods overnight, and that was really the training that they gave you. But nothing could ever have trained you for over in Vietnam. Thinking about what was going on and that we were preparing for Nam was an everyday affair. But you were caught up in the Army. You had something to do every minute of the day. You really didn't have time to think. All you could do was do the next task that they assigned to you. And that started from before daylight until after dark. You came back in, you showered, you literally crashed at night. As far as have I maintained a relationship with anybody, I wish I had. With 3 or 4 of them, I didn't. I was just young and came back and started to work and start to do other things, and you had other priorities. And I sort of let that one slip away, and I'm regretful for that. Everything we had to carry with us, our food. If we were going out for 10 days, we had to carry all our food for 10 days. And food was typical Army food, little cans of this, little cans of that. You would have some packages, freeze-dried food that were called LRPs, long-range patrol. All you had to do was add water. There were no structures at all. We didn't build anything. All we did was move from one position to another. Whatever you were told to do, you had to do. Our feet were bloody, and as you were walking, sometimes you just couldn't stop. My biggest fear, as well as everybody else, was that you would get separated from your small group. I saw it was a terrible situation where we were at base camp, and the Vietnamese children, which virtually have nothing, and you felt so sorry, and you would give them candy bars, or you would give them food or something. And one day, 2 of the soldiers that were in our group went down to hand the kids some food, and the kids had explosives on them, and everybody blew up. I think that it was a very political war. It was a horrible war. Should have never been. It was politically motivated. Again, my opinion of it. I thought it was useless. A lot of people were killed that shouldn't have been. You certainly grow up very quickly. You learn not to whine about things. And you look at all those people who lost their lives. I went over to Nam on October 13th, 1968, and I came back on October 11th, 1969. I was lucky enough to get in after 6 months to get out of the field and get back into what we considered civilization, but is still out in the middle of people still bombing you, and you just wanted to sort of enjoy life a little bit because you had just gone through this hellacious scenario. Because guess what? You got to live with it. I didn't want to go to the Army. I certainly didn't want to go to Nam. I had no choice but to go. People are not always happy with how situations turn out. Roll with it, because guess what? You got to live with it. go along with things and just make the best of it. You got a long career, you got a long life, you got families, you've got siblings you have to take care of, things like that. Just look at that half full glass. I have always flown the American flag. You just can't forget, that's all. If I'm going through an airport and I see some soldiers having lunch or something, that I'll go over, just pick up the tab. Kids today, I don't think they realize it. They don't realize how thankful they are. The houses, you wake up in the house, you have food, you go to school, you go to work, you can go out, you can party, you can have fun, but you don't think about the soldiers that can't do any of that. So, tough situation, but it's a must, and thank God for those troops.